All right. Hey, Michelle. Uh, you'll have to unmute yourself. We can't
You're,
hear you yet, Michelle. So
yeah, it's
if
in the
you're on
corner.
mobile, it might be in a different place, but your mic is muted.
Ah,
Uh,
found
There you
it.
go. Perfect.
Hey.
Hey,
Yeah, so I'm outside. I hope you can see me okay. Otherwise, just do sound.
no, this is just fine. That's fine.
It's
Super.
3:45 in Denmark in nighttime, so
Oh my goodness. And you're in, geez, you must be the first. So how the heck did
you
you find?
know you sold yourself very well at the NES, so I had to come on here.
Oh, really? Okay.
I had a
Super.
training with the elevation just an hour prior to this, so it's pretty practical for me. I was up anyway.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much for jumping on. Really. Hey, I sat beside you at NES.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember me.
Yes, I do. Totally. Totally. So, what would you like me to profile you on?
Well, right now, I have the elevation going on for me. I'm a network marketer and dancer. And actually was crying a little bit at your presentation because I realized that what you taught, I already operate with that, and I didn't even realize I'm doing this stuff. So what I did realize is that obviously because I take action all the time, but there is something I don't know quite how to explain it, but I kind of fight myself.
Yeah.
I mean, I do all these great things, and I know they're great, and I take all these actions, and sometimes when I look back upon what I'm doing, I'm like, whoa, did I do that? So it's like I'm not quite owning it. Does that make sense?
Totally. You're not.
Um, so I don't know if that gives you enough to profile me on. I just can't figure out what it is I need to work on there because
I'm
I
going to
think
take you back to the first part of what you said and
mhm.
just dig a little deeper. You said you were crying. Where? When?
Oh yeah, that was at NES when you were talking about um the mind models
Okay.
and you were teaching the mind model of the day. I don't know why I can't remember it right now. I think I'm a
It's
little tired
success.
here.
It's the
Yeah,
success
yeah, yeah, the
formula.
success formula. And and I was sitting there in the audience and I was like, okay, there's gonna come something now that I don't know how to do, right? And you teach it and I'm like, I'm thinking about it in my head and I'm like, oh my god, I'm already doing it. So I was crying because of joy. It
Right.
was a relief to know that oh my god, I'm already doing a lot of stuff that is actually working out really great. Like I'm actually doing a great job here, always taking action, always um not waiting to be perfect, just doing it, not really thinking about
Yep.
it,
Absolutely.
storming off to do stuff, staying up at night to talk to a person that will definitely be able to help me, right? I'm doing all these things, but I don't know, I'm not owning it. I'm not realizing it, kind of.
Okay. So I'm going to make you do some work here. Okay. This
Oh
is not
yeah, thank
exactly
you.
going to be a profiling session per se, but this is going to
Okay,
be more of a coaching session. Okay. Are you okay with that?
that sounds good.
Okay, great. So, out of all of the mind models that you've heard, um, what mind model? Okay, so if I'll give you three or four mind models here. Okay, effective versus ineffective language is one of them. Naming and labeling, judgment versus evaluation, internal versus external. Which ones would you say you are not operating with effectively?
Probably the external versus internal.
Yeah.
If I
And
were
if
to
I said
say, I'm not, yeah, because there's, but it's kind of backwards. Like I'm doing all these things external, but I'm not doing them internal, I think.
Because
look
of
back.
what? That's absolutely correct. And because of what?
Um,
Catherine, you're
oh, you
spot
are
on.
making me work here.
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't know. I don't have self-insight there.
Yeah, because judgment versus evaluation. And you've got a cascade effect. And the trick question was, all 4 of those mind models, you only do sort of well. You take action really well. That's not an issue. Your how is fabulous. You how a lot of things, but you don't own so much of well, you own parts of this, and you own your own faults and flaws because it's more judgmental than it is evaluative.
Right.
You're not
Right.
looking at yourself. So there's like, I can go through all 4 of those. And as I was saying, each one of those 4, I got like hit after hit after hit of what you've already talked about that's already missing in how you do it. You don't name and label your successes. You name and label that you have successes, not what specifically they are, until somebody else comes around and points them out and says, oh yeah, I do that. Yes.
Yeah,
And
you're
then
right.
You flush it. You flush it. You get rid of it out of your brain. You don't sit down. And I would tell you, here's a little coaching tip. You start documenting those things that you catch yourself doing effectively. Write down what works every day, a minimum of 3 to 5 things every day. What did you do that worked? And Dwayne, if you're still on here, do exactly the same thing, because, it works. You've got to start tracking on, and everybody on this call can do this one, is just track what's working in your life. What are 3 to 5 things that you did every day? And if you were one of my high-end business clients of mine that I'm consulting with, depending on where they are to start off with, this is one of those exercises that I make people do. Trevor had to do this exercise as well. Like, it was a must for him. He did not evaluate himself. He judged himself way too much. And once you start naming and labeling what is effective, so naming and labeling, and you're going to start off by probably giving it a broad brush approach. You're probably going to write a paragraph. I don't want a paragraph. I want one word to 5 words, never more than 7.
Okay.
You cannot make it more than 7. Okay?
Got it.
Yeah, you have to keep it down to 7 words, preferably 1 or 2. So short names and labels of things, because when you name and label what you did effectively, you can duplicate that easily in your mind. And you do this by feel right now. It feels right, correct? Yeah. See?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Spot on.
It's not, I think I'm doing it effectively, and it feels correct, so I'm going to do more. But that
Right.
feeling makes it so impossible for you to describe what you're doing to somebody else, to
Yeah,
describe
kind of
it
shaky.
even to yourself.
Yeah.
So you can't give yourself credit because you haven't named and labeled it.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then you
Wow.
turn around and judge yourself because you haven't named and labeled it. And then it becomes ineffective language because you haven't named and labeled it. And it's all this internal stuff that gets messed up with the external stuff, and your internal is messed up with your external because you haven't named and labeled it.
Man, why am I doing this to myself?
Exactly, because you don't know how not to. Okay? This
Right.
isn't your fault. It is the way that we've been educated, but it is what makes me so frickin' passionate about getting mind models out to the world, because it took me a rant of 30 seconds to go through all of that stuff, and you got it. It's like, yes, if I name and label this, you'll get a cascade effectiveness, a whole thing that cascades into effectiveness. Naming it and labeling it effectively, you'll be able to test for that now, because you've got that effective versus ineffective language pattern. You can say, oh, is that effective? Did that work for me? Or was
Mhm.
that ineffective? Did that not work for me? You can ask yourself those questions. Not, was that good or bad? Did I feel good about that or feel bad about that? It's not about being right or wrong. It's about going out there and doing this stuff and figuring out those effective things. So you go out there, right, wrong, good or bad, got to get out of your language, especially with yourself. You got to get into what works, what doesn't work, what's effective, what's ineffective. Okay? And name and label those suckers. Okay.
You know, from today on, I will name and label like a crazy person.
Good. Excellent. Because when you do that, you will have rapid breakthroughs because you're already doing those things that are effective, but you can't name and label them. So they're very hard. See, everything that I had to do in rewiring the mind was going out there and building all of these mind models. It was doing three primary things. And the first thing, it's got to be identifiable. Okay, you have to identify it, name and label it. It has to be testable. So having it as identifiable, you got to be able to test it and you got to define it to some degree. Then it's got to be repeatable. So once it's identified and defined and described to some degree of effectiveness, a small paragraph, then it's repeated. Can I do it over and over and over again and get similar results? Okay, because if I can't, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. Seriously, throw it out. It's not working. It's not reliable. It felt good. I fluked off one, but can I make it work on a reliable basis? Okay. So that's the next thing. So repeatability. Can I repeat it? And I was chatting with you and you said you are doing network marketing as well. So it's got to be duplicatable. You got to be able to describe this in a way that you can get it into other people's heads, or at least see it so that they can do a similar thing. Okay.
Right.
Now you can bring those people on the call, and I can help with the duplication part before you actually figure out all of the duplication for yourself. But that's one of the things that we can do, and say, okay, so if people are willing to learn, stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning, jump on here.
Luckily, everyone I work with is on your side of the world. I'm the only outsider here.
Yay! All right. So throw them on the call.
I will.
Yeah, and just say, come join and figure this stuff out. Because this is not, oh my God, it's just, yeah.
It's very powerful. I already feel it. I feel different just from learning about it. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate this.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Now, my payment from this moment is, please jump on my Facebook page and comment and like and share.
Oh yeah, liked and shared already, but I will comment.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.